How's everyone? My name is Elijah, and I am the co-owner of Driven Dental Implant Marketing. This is my partner, Charles. And then we have Laura Hatch with Front Office Rocks as our special guest today. She is going to be training everyone up on how do we answer the phone properly and everything that has to do with. We're super excited to have her. And just to let you all know, Driven Dental Implant Marketing, we specialize in bringing high-value dental implant patients into your practice and not only generating the leads as a marketing company, but supporting you as well. So we are bringing you the best consultants and dental professionals in the entire country, and we're actually providing you with training from them. So for those of you who don't know, Laura owns Front Office Rocks that has literally an enormous amount of training videos for your front office team to be as effective and as efficient as possible. So the whole point of these live cast and podcast videos is simply to educate the dental team as it relates to dental implants and high value cases in each section of the office. And we know that Laura Hatch is the expert on the front end of the phone. And Charles, I'm going to let you take it over. We have some questions for her.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super excited actually to have Laura with us, because if you are a dental practice that is looking to get new patients, it's pretty much every practice, or if you're a dental practice that's specifically marketing for high value patients, you probably realize that the phone is one of the most, if not the most critical aspect. Because if we can't get the patients in and actually give them a chance to experience all that we have to offer, there's no opportunity for us to convert on any kind of marketing efforts that we're doing. And so this is a great chance for us to kind of talk about some of the challenges that practices are having. And we've got some really great pearls and nuggets that we're going to share with you. And we'll just get right into it. So Laura, welcome. For those few people on this live cast that may not know who you are, why don't you just give us a quick little bio and background about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Laura Hatch, and I'm the founder and owner of Front Office Rocks. I started in dentistry in 2003. I was married to a dentist who decided he wanted to open a scratch dental office, and I knew nothing about dentistry. My background's human resources, organizational development, training, customer service, management, but got thrown into a dental office and really kind of had to figure it out. I had to learn, like most of us, just because there's no real office manager school. There's no real place to go learn how to answer the phones at a dental office and dental codes and all that. We've opened 2 scratch practices, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. And about 5 years ago, I determined that there was still no real good place to go get training. You know, I'd hire a new receptionist. I'd hire somebody to fill our schedule or work on the schedule. And I'd have to sit down and train them and go through everything. And we have turnover in the dental office, and we have a lot of stuff we have to do. So I started Front Office Rocks about 5 years ago with the idea of being a resource for dentists to be able to train dentists and office managers to train employees in the front. I feel that in the dental office, we don't have enough training in the front office. We kind of just throw you to the wolves. And to help offices do better in the front desk, in the front of the office, because dentists don't learn a lot of that in dental school. You know, they learn the clinical side, they learn how to do the treatment, they learn how to place the implants, and then they go up front to the front office team and say, okay, get me more patients, you know, schedule more patients. And there's not any training for us. So I decided I didn't want to go in office. I'm not a consultant, but I wanted to help as many offices as possible. So I do online training. I do training videos on everything from, do you take my insurance on that phone call, to I don't want to pay my bill, to I don't want to schedule my appointment, and handling everything that we do at the front desk, because I believe that the front desk is the most important part of the dental office in my mind. Because we're the first and the last touch of every patient when they come in. And like you said, the telephone, I think, is the most important piece of technology in the entire dental office. I mean, not the CEREC, not the, the Galileos or the implant place, whatever system you're using. It's really how well we can answer that phone, because we're converting these potential patients into getting that treatment. So that's really what I get excited about and why I'm here talking with you guys about this today.
Right, right. It really is that first impression.
Mhm.
And so basically frontofficerocks.com is a full suite of all the tools that you need to run your front desk and the whole admin aspect of a dental office.
Yep.
But our focus today is just on the phone.
Yep.
And so we're going to really pick your brain and try to get some of your best nuggets and how we can use our phone skills to increase the number of new patients that we get into the practice. And so speaking about converting new patients, why is the phone so important for new patients specifically, in your opinion?
Okay, so the phone is the first impression when a patient calls in, and the first real impression. So what happens is patients either hear about us from marketing, online, a family member, a neighbor, whatever. And then I believe the next thing they do is they either go read reviews about us, they go to the website, our website, or they pick up the phone, any variation of that. But when that phone rings, that's when it's game on for us.
Yeah.
You know, we're paying money to make that phone ring. We are, you know, at the front desk, and I don't know if you guys have ever sat at a front desk, but I have for many years. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. You know, there's the doctor's walking up, wants to know where his patient is. The hygienist is ready to walk a patient out. Somebody walks in the front door, the phone's ringing. You're the babysitter, you're handling IT, you're doing everything. And we're really good at multitasking in the front desk. I mean, that's one thing we can do. I can do 12 things at once. But that phone is the lifeline to the outside. It's our connection to our potential new patients. It's our connection to our current patients calling in for whatever purpose. And one of the things that it typically happens in a crazy environment is you answer the phone in such a hurried manner. You're doing 6 things at once. And that impression you can't make again with a new patient. So we have to, in fact, I want to get shirts made that says respect the phone. I think that we need to understand how important the phone is. I mean, until one day that we don't pick up phones anymore and we just, I don't know, text only or whatever, we have to respect that phone call. And you don't get a second chance to make a new first impression. So if you're spending money, if you're working to ask for referrals and reviews, if you're asking patients to tell people about your office, and then they call your office and they feel like they interrupted you, that you were, you know, you're annoyed by them, you're too busy for them, they're not important to you, they may still schedule with you, they may still come in, but that impression is going to stick with them along the way. And if we're talking about large cases, implant cases, we want that patient to feel welcome, to feel important, to know they called the right office from that initial phone call. So there's a balance between being effective, being efficient at the front desk, but also handling that phone well, because that really is the connection to the potential new patients and outside of the practice.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. So yes, it's game on when that phone rings. And I like your comment, Elijah, about dental implants, because that's what Driven Dental Implant Marketing does. We're driving these high value patients. And I just wanted to add from our experience, what we found is that these patients are searching on Google, right? Because this is where they can find the answers that they're looking for. And they're literally dialing down all of the different options on Google. So you can have a great ad, you can have a great landing page experience that converts that visitor to a phone call. But then if you drop the ball on the phone, they're just going to dial the next practice. And those calls aren't cheap. Those leads are not cheap. They're definitely an investment. And so the phone is so important to convert.
Yeah. One of the things that I talk about, and I think this kind of helps just to put us in the right mindset before we answer the phone, we wear multiple hats in every position you're in, right? So in the front office, we're the insurance coordinator, we're the scheduler, we're the babysitter, we're the receptionist, we're the financial coordinator. We have to understand when we're wearing multiple hats that when you do something, you need to have the right hat on. So one of the things that I talk about is, as a financial coordinator, if I'm working on money and numbers and I'm working on insurance, my mindset is very, detail oriented, very focused, sometimes not in the best mood because I'm dealing with insurance and that not fun stuff. But when I go to answer that phone, I need to take off my insurance coordinator hat and put my receptionist hat on, because there's 2 different ways we answer the phone. If you answer it as an insurance coordinator, it's doctor's office, thank you for calling, how may I help you? Because yeah, right? But how does a receptionist answer the phone? The receptionist answers the phone's chipper and happy, and how can I help you today? And I'm glad you called. So even though we might feel like an insurance coordinator, or we might have just got off the phone with an insurance company and we're frustrated, we have to take that hat off. And no matter what we say when we pick up that phone, it has to come out that you are happy they called. They are important to you. Because we don't do that enough. A lot of times we just answer the phones and we say what we're supposed to say, but people can feel your heart. People can feel if you really are happy they're calling or not. So that's an important point before you even start talking about verbal skills and stuff, is just understand you have to have the right attitude and why that's important.
Yeah, for sure. And to put in perspective from those implant patients that we're driving to a practice, I mean, they're already nervous. I mean, this is a pretty high risk decision for most of these patients. A lot of them are embarrassed about their smile. They know it's going to be a ton of money. It's an unfamiliar decision. There's surgery involved. And so they're already nervous. And the last thing they need to hear is some harsh voice on the other end. They're literally desperate for a personal connection and to feel cared for. And so your tone is going to make a world of difference into them selecting your office.
Exactly.
So besides not taking off your hat and maybe, having the wrong tone on the phone, what are some other mistakes that you think practices make a lot when it comes to handling the phone?
So there's a lot in our industry. This is why I have a business. First is respecting the phone, the importance of the phones. There's not even with the answering phone parts, but there's things like we tend to not answer the phones during business hours. Your phone should be answered all the time. If you've got a potential patient calling, they've done their research, maybe they're calling down the Google list, they know they need an implant, they call your office and they get a voicemail, right away, that's telling them that you're too busy for them. They're going to go on to the next office. If they leave a message, that's still starting with a wrong first impression. So your phone should be answered all the time. You want to make sure that your phones are answered within the first 2 to 3 rings. If we're busy and we let it ring and ring and ring and ring, or we answer it and we put them on hold, that again is the impression that they're not important to us. And we need the patients to feel that they are important to us. So I believe that's a big mistake that we make in the dental office. Another one is we take untrained people and we try them out on the phones. So typically in the front office, the first place you go when you're brand new is we try you out on the phones. I personally think that's the worst thing you can do, because the phones are the most important part of the front office. It's the most important piece of technology. We have this brand new person who's not trained, who's nervous, who doesn't understand our practice, doesn't understand what we do, and we're trying them on the phones. Well, that could be a potential implant patient that we just spent money to get them to call our office. And now we've got this new person who isn't trained well handling the phones. I kind of equate it to when every office has the family that sends the kids in first to see if we're any good. And I'm like, what if we weren't, right? What if we were awful? It doesn't make sense to me. So I would not put anybody on your phones that's not trained. Put your best people on your phones. Have that new employee do other things, recare calls, follow-ups, whatever, until they get good and get the right training, and then put them on the phone. So that's some of the initial things I would say that I think a lot of dental offices aren't doing well. That really is an easy fix for the dental office.
Makes a lot of sense. We have a question from Charlotte. She says, what's your best answer to, do you take my insurance when you're not in network?
Okay. So this is going to be a long answer, Charlotte. Thank you for asking. Patients don't know what we do for a living. Patients don't know if you're a good dentist or not. Patients don't know about dentistry. They don't walk around going, look at this great margin and look at the great shade match and look at this implant system they're using. They only know their insurance book and their pocketbook. I mean, that's what our patients know. They know to ask how much something costs, or do you take my insurance? Sometimes they ask, do you have weekend hours? Do you have evening hours? That's because that's their pocketbook talking. That's all our patients know. We say patients have low dental IQ. I don't know if you've ever heard that. And I always wonder, where's the dental IQ test? They do have low dental IQ. They don't know what we know. And so they're going to start with something like, do you take my insurance? Or how much is something? Or do you have weekend hours? If I say no to any of those questions, so do you take my insurance, like Charlotte's asking? If I say, no, I'm sorry, we don't take your insurance, but our doctor's well-trained in blah, 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 blah. What does that patient want to do when they hear no? They want to hang up, right? They want to, no, I'm sorry, but we're trained in this. And so we have to understand that our patients ask that question. And if we say no, no matter what we say after that, it's kind of like the Peanuts teacher, want. So my solution to that is you need to say yes or something positive. You need to acknowledge their question, and then you need to take control of the phone call, because we need to understand our patients are really just asking us because they don't know what else to ask. They should be asking, how much CE has your doctor done this year? What implant courses have they done? Is he trained by Arun Garg? Is this doctor good? But they don't know to ask that. So we need to start with yes or something positive. We need to acknowledge them, and then we need to take control of the call, because they don't know what to ask. And so we need to understand that. And if we say no, or I'm sorry, we're not in network, we get in the insurance discussion, we're going to go down that insurance path, which is not fully taking care of the patient and handling what the patient needs. So that's my long answer to, it's got to be something yes or positive with taking the purpose of taking control of the call, which we'll talk about.
So something along the lines of, yes, we submit to all insurance.
Yes, we work with your insurance. I can answer yes to any question. Let me give some examples. Do you take my insurance? Yes, we work with your insurance. Do you have patients, or do you take my HMO? Yes, we have a lot of patients that have HMOs. Yes, do you have weekend hours? Yes, in certain circumstances we do. Now, I know I have a lot of people listening right now going, oh, do you take we don't take HMOs. Do you take my insurance? Yes, we work with your insurance. We maximize your insurance. We help you maximize it. We'll submit your benefits. Whatever feels comfortable to you. But the idea is you have to say yes, okay? Or something positive. HMOs. We don't take HMOs in my practice. There's a lot of offices that don't. But we also have a lot of patients who actually came to our practice, dropped their HMO, joined our membership program, came to us and paid cash, hated the HMO offices they went to. But if I say no, I never get to find out what happened to them. So I'm going to say yes. We have a lot of patients that have that HMO or have HMOs. I'm going to handle the insurance question. I'm just not going to handle it up front. I'm going to learn about the patient first. People who say, do you have weekend or Saturday hours? I'm going to say yes. In certain circumstances, we do. Okay. Now, let's say the patient needs 10 implants. They want to do a whole full new smile. They just came into an estate of their mom and dad's money. They're going to their 25th wedding anniversary or high school anniversary, and they're willing to pay cash for this smile restoration. Do you think your doctor's going to go to work on a Saturday if they can only come in on a Saturday? Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. So in certain circumstances, we do. Now, are we going to come in and clean your 5 kids' teeth? Probably not. But if you're a big implant case, yeah, we might come in on a Saturday. But the whole purpose in saying yes or something positive is now I want to get the patient talking to me. I want to know why they're asking. I want to know what their scenario is, what they're looking for. I'm still going to handle the questions. I'm not saying be deceitful or not tell the truth. I'm just saying we need to understand why patients ask it. And it's our job to take control of the call, because at the end of the day, we're not talking to an insurance company on the other end of the phone. We're talking to a person. We're talking to a patient who's considering a lot of treatment, potentially a lot of money. They're scared. That's the dentist. And we need to be better about those calls for the patients and not let the insurance or money dictate the conversation.
Totally. Everything you just said is absolutely validated by all the calls that we hear coming in on a daily basis through the campaigns that we're running for our clients. And I could tell you the way you know you've done this right is if you almost hear a sigh of relief on the other end from the patient, because they're totally frustrated. They're literally just calling through all the offices and just interviewing people. Do you take my insurance? Do you take my insurance? And then when they hear yes, they're so happy because they finally found a place that can potentially help them. So definitely that yes and positive answer in the right way makes a big difference. I
was going to say, and if you do this, you're setting yourself apart from all your competition. Absolutely. Like everyone's always concerned about competition. I guarantee every other dental office in your area is going, yes, no, we don't work with your insurance, and here's the price for our crown. And don't do that. Take control of the call, because you'll set yourself apart from everyone else.
Right. That no is literally like a brick wall. You can hear the energy and momentum of the call just stop dead in its tracks. So cool. All right. Well, let's move on to the next question, because it definitely is an important one. And that is, should we be handling all of the phone calls the same?
So I'm a big believer in every phone call should be handled with the utmost customer service and the most control. And whether it's a new patient or a current patient, existing patient, because every patient could turn into an implant patient. Every patient could turn into a large case for the practice. And I know there's some offices that only really answer new patient calls and not existing patient calls, or they get too busy and they let it go to voicemail. I think every call is important. I don't care if they ask me if I take HMOs or if they ask me about implants. I want because it's a person we're dealing with on the other end of the call. And we know more than they do about what we offer and how we can take care of them. So I believe that we need to take control of the call. We need to build rapport with the patient. We need to handle the patient, and all of them deserve. We're dealing with, we have to think about what we do for a living. We put drills and needles in their mouths. A lot of people aren't just going to call and be like, yay, I want to do that. Yeah. So we need to be better about that. We need to make sure we're handling all the calls. So, I'm all about every experience with the patient always needs to be top notch.
Totally agree. We have practices who've gone through, there's a lot of different phone trainings and different philosophies and stuff out there. There are some, institutions that kind of teach this rigid, scripted, just go straight to the appointment because it's all about efficiency type of experience. Yeah. And I think that in the case, especially when you're talking about new patients who are just getting to know our practice or patients who are seeking high value treatment, it's so important for us to slow down, make that personal connection, and actually get to know the patient so that we can really build value and start off on the right foot. We can't rush to the appointment with new patient calls and patients looking for high value. Exactly. It might be okay to do that with existing patients because they already know us and like us and trust us. And in that case, yes, we want to make an efficient call, but we still want to acknowledge them as a person as well, too. So I think you're right. You can't answer every single phone call the same.
Yeah. And I think that, we need to understand the reason we're answering yes, the reason we're saying something positive is now we're taking control of the call. And the reason we want to take control of the call is because we want to build rapport with the patient. We want to learn why they're calling. We want to hear what happened in their history, what they're calling for. And so many times we become, and I talk about this, we become to ourselves in the dental office too insurance driven, too efficient, too, multitaskers. And I know we need efficiency and I know we have to deal with insurance, but we have to remember that's a person on the other end of the phone. And we want to find out why they're calling and how did they hear about us and what's their scenario and what are they, and it doesn't take that long to build rapport. It doesn't take, a few questions. You got someone talking to you, you find out their name, you introduce yourself. That's key for setting yourself apart. I personally am not a huge fan of scripts. I know there's companies out there that teach phone scripts, but when you call into a 1-800 number for your cell phone or whatever and they're reading off of a script, it just doesn't sound real and from the heart. Scripts may help you, verbal skills will help you with the training, but ultimately you have to believe in your heart what you're saying. You have to really care about that person on the other end of the phone, and you have to know that that person doesn't know what to ask. And your job is to be the one to help them make the right decision. And the right decision is they need to come into your practice and become a patient of yours, right? Because you are the best dental office for them.
For sure. And just focus on that next step. I totally agree. I think, scripts are kind of like training wheels. Eventually they need to come off and we need to not rely on them, but they can be good at the beginning, especially for that new team member. It gives them a framework and a guideline to kind of work through and actually helps them get up to speed quickly.
They ultimately have to believe in the script and take it on as their own. If they're just saying it because that's what they got told to read on the phone, it's not going to come off heartfelt. And the problem with scripts is if the patient says something that's not an option on the script, like back to you, now what do? You need to understand. I'm all about understanding the why. Why are phone calls important? Why is it important that we take care of our patients? It's not about the script. Elijah, I can tell you're ready for a question.
It's not even me. There's just so many amazing questions coming in. I think that I'm going to save the questions for the end so we can get through all of the training. But we have at least 6 questions here. It's been really, really good so far. Thank you, Laura.
Good. So let's get specific. So Driven Dental Implant Marketing, our whole objective is to drive patients who are seeking high value treatment to the practice. How do we handle those types of calls specifically? Patients who are looking for the big cases or implant treatment, that kind of stuff.
Well, so one of the things I believe we want to, of course, handle every phone call with control, build rapport. Our ultimate purpose with the phone calls is to get the patient to come into the office. We need to handle their questions. We need to give them excellent customer service, but we're not just handling their questions and then letting them hang up and call the next office and call the next office. Our job, our purpose with every question we handle is to convert them to a new patient. One patient might take a little bit longer. Maybe they've been to a few offices. Maybe they know more about implants. Maybe they have some more questions. But we're not just doing this to answer the questions. Our ultimate goal always needs to be to get them to come in for consultation, to get them to come into the practice. And every patient's different. So when we handle all the calls, we need to handle every patient appropriately for that patient with the ultimate goal of getting them to schedule. And it's not just put them in the schedule and hope they show up. We need to understand our job is to do what's necessary, build that rapport, help them with directions, handle their questions, do whatever we need to do to get them to arrive, because just scheduling them and then not having them show up it's not helping them, it's not helping us. So we need to make sure that we understand that our purpose is to build rapport with the patient and get them to come in, because we are the best dental office for them, and you can't sell them over the phone. Ultimately, we need to get them in the practice so we can sell them on us and the treatment that they need.
Absolutely. Just get them to the next step, because like you said, you can't sell the treatment over the phone. They've got to experience you and meet you in person. And so actually you brought up a good point. So we'll kind of skip ahead to one of the questions that's later, but it's about no-shows and cancellations, which is probably one of the biggest challenges in every single dental practice. What's your approach to trying to reduce or eliminate those?
There's different ways. This is specifically about new patients and implants, so we'll focus on that. But I think there's 3 different types of cancellations and no-shows in the dental office. So specifically in hygiene, that's one scenario, one issue, which we would talk about on another podcast. Doctor's schedule, that's a different issue. But when it comes to new patients, I think there's 3 things. I think it's, are they committed? Did we build rapport? And how soon do we schedule them? So are they committed? I mean, do we have somebody who's just shopping around, who's just making multiple appointments, who, may or may not show up? And we need to listen to their verbal skills. We need to listen to, I'll schedule you this afternoon at 2:00. We have a consultation available. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Put me in there. I'll see. We need to listen more. We need to, whether your office charges, to put a down payment down for the appointment or any kind of no-show fee, that's dependent on, what you recommend in your office. But the biggest thing is listening to the patient. If you've got somebody who's canceling and moving and canceling and moving, and then maybe we do need to charge them, because are they serious or not? The second thing is building rapport. Like I said, if we're just, what's your name? Can you come in Tuesday? And we'll see you then. And we didn't build any rapport with them. They don't have a connection to us. So now on Tuesday, they get an invitation to go to lunch with their girlfriend. They don't have any rapport built with your practice. They're going to be like, it's fine. I'll just reschedule and skip their appointment. And then thirdly is, how soon did we book the patient? We need to I recommend patients get scheduled in the next 24 to 48 hours. They need to get in because they're motivated now. They picked up the phone to call you now. I actually had a patient who called in once, and he started with, it was a new patient, and he said, I'm really sorry, but I've been wasting a lot of your money. I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, you've been marketing to my house. I've been getting your postcards to my house for the last 5 years, and I've been throwing them away, and it looks like you spend good money on your marketing. I'm really sorry. I've been wasting your money. And I said, okay, well, can I help you? And he goes, I'm ready to schedule today. So he's been getting our postcards every 5 weeks for 5 years, and he picked up the phone today. I need to get him scheduled as soon as possible, because something happened in his life that got him motivated to pick up the phone. If I don't get him in the next 24 to 48 hours, things will happen. He'll get a bill from his kid's school. His tooth will stop hurting. He'll get a horrific, root canal story or implant story, and then we lose them. So the biggest thing is really, I think, listening to the patient, building rapport with them, and getting them scheduled as soon as possible.
Yeah, I told that the how soon, especially with implant patients, we see that. And I mean, these patients sometimes suffer with not loving their smile for a long time. And because they know this is such a procedure and a commitment, they kind of procrastinate a little while. But then something triggers. Maybe, like you said, there's a wedding coming up or whatever. There's some kind of life event where now this is important.
Yep.
If they've got to wait 2 to 3 weeks, then they're going to another office, and that big case just walk out the door. So having that availability is a big deal. And definitely we have seen a lot of success with using the deposit to create commitment. And that's one of the techniques that we teach to really eliminate no-shows. So good. Let's talk about other potential phone problems that we might run into. What are those, and how do we know if we have them?
Can I chime in?
Yeah,
go ahead, Elijah?
Can I chime in?
Yeah.
Please.
Is it my turn? I think that a major phone problem is judging the patients.
Yeah.
Their voice. I've heard so many of our calls with Driven Dental Marketing. I've heard so many of the potential patients' calls, and the voice is everything. So it's the patient's voice and the person that's answering the phone's voice, the tonality.
Yep.
Tonality, is that a word? Tonality?
Yeah. We'll get to it. You just named it. Yeah.
It's the tone that people are speaking in. And when somebody calls and they have when their tongue is going through their teeth because they can't talk good, or they're ghetto, right? They got this voice, and it's like, super not your ideal patient. Yeah. I mean, literally, as soon as that happens, or maybe their vocabulary is not good, or maybe they just don't sound great.
Yeah. Or they have a strong accent or something like that. Yeah.
That to me is an immediate point to where the person that's answering the phone is judging.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden their tonality completely changes.
Yep.
And so I think that is a massive obstacle that needs to be overcome, because let's face it, the patients that we are specifically marketing to are patients that need teeth.
Yeah.
They need dental implants. Oftentimes they're missing all of their teeth, or they need a complete smile design. Do you think that person is going to answer the phone like Susie Q businesswoman?
Right.
I don't think so. They're not going to call, and it's not going to be your ideal patient, but your not ideal patient wants a ideal smile design. So Laura, chime in on that, please.
So I'm going to give us, because that happens, I think, over time, because I'm all about continual training, because I think we get beat up over time in the dental office. People start asking about insurance, and they say they don't like to come to the dentist, and you're too expensive. And then we get beat up. And so we start answering the phone kind of with an attitude. We're not going to waste time. We don't want the not real patients coming in. So my story is, and when I talk about this, I talk about this all the time. Every office can relate to this. We all have patients who walk in, we judge them from the beginning. They're in overalls. They look like they just walked off the farm. They've got cowboy boots on. They've got, you hope it's mud on the boots because you're not really sure what they stepped in. We assume this patient can't afford anything. We present an implant to this patient, and they go home and get the money out from under their mattress and pay us in cash. And we go, oh, we had no idea, right? Then on the flip side, we've got that guy who shows up in a 3-piece suit. He drives a Maserati. He flies around the country on his private jet, and we present the same implant to him, and it's too expensive, and he doesn't have that kind of money. The thing is that there's two different kinds of people. There are people who value their pocketbook over their teeth. And then there are people who value their teeth over their pocketbook. And we all have patients who came in, got family members to help them pay, got financing, found the money because they value their teeth over their pocketbook. And we have those patients who are driving around in the nicest cars, wearing the nicest clothes, and have their teeth are bombed out because they don't value their teeth. They value money more. We won't be able to tell that on the phone. You can't tell on the phone how a patient values money versus teeth. We have to get them in. So just think about every time you're on the phone, that patient that we all have that dug the money up, that found a friends to help, that had money under their mattress, and we've changed their life. Every patient on the phone could be that next patient. And it's our job not to judge them. It's our job to get them in because we don't know. We really don't know. And maybe they've had bad experiences in the past. Maybe they've been to bad dentists in the past. Maybe whatever the case is, we don't know until we get them in. And we are talking about some patients that are really scared, lots of money, lots of procedures, whatever, don't judge them over the phone. Get them in. Get them in and care about them and take care of them, no matter how they sound, no matter what questions they ask. Because at the end of the day, that's a person, that's a human, and we need to care about people. So I hope that answers that, Elijah. Remember the bombed out CEO guy that has no teeth, and remember the farmer guy that looked like he had no money and got his whole smile redone. And remember that when you're talking on the phones.
Awesome. Are there any other problems that keep us from being effective on the phone? Maybe things that we wouldn't necessarily think about intuitively.
Well, I think, and we've kind of hit all of them. I mean, my biggest things are answering the phone. That's a number one. Like, it is amazing to me, even to this day and age. My biggest thing, if I finish in this industry, is that people answer their phones Monday through Friday, at least 8 to 5. If you're a practice that you're trying to get big cases, answer your phones in the evening. Have a service. There's no excuse now that your phone shouldn't be answered. And I say that from the front of the room, and then I call dental offices and I get the voicemail that says, if you've reached us during business hours, we must be helping other patients. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because all you're saying now is that patient in the office is more important to the patient in front of you or the patient on the phone. So having the right people trained, the most phone calls come in between the hours of 11 and 2. There are phone tracking services now that I work with that show the call volume between 11 and 2 is the highest call volume, because the average paid person, the one who works 40 hours a week, when do they handle their personal things? It's going to be over lunch. Yet we send all of our people to lunch and we put the newbie on the phone or the dental assistant who's like, I don't know. Don't do that. Stagger lunches, have your good people over lunch, go to a late lunch, whatever, but just respect the phone. I think that's the biggest thing is respect the phone. Because it needs to be answered all the time. You need to expect that every phone call is a potential new patient. I am going to say, and this isn't on your list, so I'm kind of going off a little bit on questions, but one of the things I get all the time is, how do you handle answering the phone when you have a patient in front of you? So somebody's checking out, leaving their appointment, and the phone's ringing. I know over and over and over again in dental offices, they let that phone ring because their doctor has taught them that the patient in front of them is most important. It's not. Both patients are important. Both the phone call and the person in front of you. So you need to, and I teach this on Front Office Rocks, how to manage both, because that person's important in front of you, but you also need to handle the phone call. And if you don't, this person, first of all, this person's going to get ignored on the phone. And then the person in front of you is going to remember that you didn't answer that phone. And the next time they call into your practice, if they hear that the phone's ringing and you're not answering, they're going to remember how you ignored the phone call when they were in the practice. So that is definitely something that you have to make sure that you get trained on, because that phone is so important. I'm pointing at the phone like I have one sitting here. Like, my phone is so important. I need my Care Credit phone, right? That says, yeah. So those are, I think, my biggest things. If you could do that, get training, answer your phone, that's the key things.
Something that I've seen a lot, not a lot, I've seen one time, I've seen a lot. I've seen this one time, and it was with Dr. Craig Spodek's office in Delray Beach. If any of you have ever heard of Craig or seen his office, there's 20 operatories. It is a 20,000 square foot building, green, tall ceilings.
Look him up. Look it up on the internet.
Look it up, Spodak Dental Group. It's amazing. So anyhow,
well, maybe don't look it up, because you may want to work there versus where you are. It's like a spa. It's amazing.
Yes, it's so amazing. So what I notice is when you walk into that front office at Spodek's office, there is a person there, singular, and they are greeting, right? And they're greeting everyone that walks in the front door with a big smile. And if you keep on walking, there is a down further after you've passed the concierge, the front person, then there's a checkout area, like separately. Following that, down the hall and to the left, out of everybody's eyesight, is a call center, somebody answering the phone. And I think that separates them so far from everyone else, because you know what? When that phone rings, somebody picks it up.
Uh-huh.
When a lead comes in, they call right now. They're on it. And so I think it's very important to understand, well, what do I answer? Do I answer the phone, or do I talk to this patient in front of me? Like you said, they're both just as important. So does that mean they're understaffed? What's the solution, Laura? What do you think the solution is to that?
So there's multiple solutions to that now. One of the things is we have to be better control in the front. So we have to be okay to say, do you mind 1 second? Can I grab this call? We need to understand that this person's important and this person's important. What I suggest on this is I suggest that either you have other people trained to help with the phones. If you're by yourself, at least answer the phone, introduce yourself, get their name and phone number, and call them right back. Say, I'm in the middle of checking a patient out. In 3 minutes, I can give you a call right back because I want to answer all your questions. Versus putting this patient on hold, because when we go on hold, it seems twice as long when you're the person on hold. And then what happens is you go back to this patient. Of course, they say, by the way, can you see the last time my kids came in for a cleaning? Can you check what my balance is? Can you do this? Can you do that? And this person's sitting on hold for 5 minutes. Now you've got a patient who's probably just going to hang up, right? So I would suggest definitely doing that. If you are way overwhelmed, there's call companies now that, I'm not going to recommend one specific because there's new ones coming out all the time, not answering services, but actually companies that will help you with the overflow of calls to make sure they're trained on handling new patients. They're trained on helping, close implants. They're trained on helping your practice schedule patients. There's no excuse right now not to answer the phones. There really, really is no excuse.
Especially if you're
Yeah. If you can't answer your phones, don't market. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but if you've got bad reviews online, I talk about that. Don't market till you fix your reviews. Make sure you understand how important that phone is if you're doing marketing to make the phone ring.
Yep. Now, what do you think in regards to this, Laura? We have leads coming into our practices literally on a daily basis. And they don't all call the phone. Oftentimes, the leads come over via email.
Okay.
What do you think is the appropriate time to answer a lead that comes over via email? That's part of it's a 3-part question.
Okay.
So when a lead is sent, say during the day, when is the appropriate time to call that patient?
You mean how soon?
Within a minute, within 24 hours, within 48 hours, how soon should you call that patient?
My guess, and I'm kind of, this wasn't on my list, and I would say, first of all, that you have that email is important. So I would say at least within the hour, at the least, at the most. And I would say make sure that you're not doing it when you're doing 72 other things. You're going to get that patient on the phone. I would try to call them then. And then I would also respond with an email back to say, I've left a message for you. I want to help you with these questions. My name is Laura, whatever. So my thing would say within an hour. Did I get it right? Is that what you teach your offices too, or?
Well, it's different. I just wanted to get your perspective on, there was not a right or wrong answer.
Don't wait 24 hours.
Absolutely not. No, definitely not that.
Yeah, it is that email. If you've got, I know people have like live chat and stuff. Whatever, those patients are reaching out to you one way or another. That person is just as important as the one in front of you and on the phone. So definitely do it. Give them the sense of urgency that they're important to you.
For sure. It's just like you said earlier. For whatever reason, they're motivated in that moment. Yeah. And that moment can be a really small window. So we actually want to catch them like while they still have their phone in their hand and they're searching for an implant dentist or a new dentist or they're in front of their computer. Like we want them while they're thinking about it because maybe they're on their lunch break or this was the only free moment they had during their extremely busy day. And as soon as they're done with this task, they're off with the rest of their life. And this is now back in the back burner again. So we don't want to miss that opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The second part of that 3-part question, the second part was, what about patients that a lead comes in after hours? So the office closes at 5 o'clock, and then there's email leads that are coming in and chat leads that are coming in after hours. And what if it's the weekend? What would you recommend from what you've seen? How do you deal with those type of patients? Is it a take-home phone? Is it we'll get back to you on Monday? What is the best strategy for that from what you've experienced?
Well, one of the offices that I work with that I love, and again, this is your doctor. If your doctor's spending money to make that phone ring and the emails to come in, then we don't want to wait till Monday, right? So my thing would be either the doctor's monitoring it, if that's the case, the emails and stuff, or have somebody on the team that every time they handle an email over the weekend or they handle a phone call, they get a bonus if they schedule the patient, play a game out of it, get a cell phone that you can switch to different team members. There's some that are gonna be like, I'll take them. I'll take everyone. I get a bonus for this. I get to schedule the most implants this month. I win a prize. Like, let those who want to do it and help jump in and do it and help. Don't make it a, oh, I got the Saturday phone call duty, right? Yeah. It needs to be fun, but it also needs to be a priority. If patients are reaching out on the weekend, you want to make sure that they can reach you. Other case would be to use a scheduling service, a company that handles calls on weekends and nights, but the calls should be handled. It shouldn't sit until Monday.
And then the question for the live viewers, if you're a live viewer, whether you're a dentist, a hygienist, a front office rock star, assistant, answer this question how you think it. If you schedule a patient after hours or during the weekend, what do you think would be a good amount to pay? What would you pay even if you're a dentist? What would you pay for a patient, a high value dental implant patient? What would you pay to have them sitting in your chair? What is worth it? Is that and Laura, chime in here as well. Is that, we pay $20 per scheduled appointment to these people? Is it we pay $100, a month to the person who has the phone? What is it that you've seen from your experience as far as pay for these? If you're not using outside services, you want to use the people that are happy to answer the phone. They're happy to make that extra $100 or to get, a bonus. What do you recommend for pay? Because it's an uncomfortable question. Yeah. But a lot of people are curious about it. How do you compensate for that?
Well, the office that I work with in New York, they answer their phones from 6 a.m. until midnight. And it's a cell phone that goes home. They take turns. The team's on a waiting list to do it because they have 3 offices. And they get paid $25 for every appointment scheduled that they handle per call. So they want to take it because you could, you're sitting at home, you're watching TV, the phone rings, or you get an email, you schedule a patient. You just made $25 watching TV for an hour. So, that's the only one that I know where it's a specific and it works great. And like I said, they want to handle the phones. They kind of sign up and say, I'm home this weekend. I might as well handle the phones and they're excited about it. So that's just based off of one of the offices that I work with. And I think it's fair. And I've seen great results from the team.
That's awesome. I almost feel like people would fight over the phone for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But you got to make it. See, this is the thing is it's got to be fun. It's got to be a game. It's got to be, if it's just here, your job is this, answer the phones. We need more implants, schedule more patients, handle it's not fun. Make it a game and your team. It doesn't have to be a huge game. It could be, everybody gets lunch on Friday or Starbucks on Monday morning. But so many times we have something new we're trying to implement in the practice and everybody goes, oh, here goes the doctor again, something new. And we need to understand the purpose behind it and make it fun.
Man, that leads into a segue into a super, I'll make it quick and then we don't have that much longer here, but very, very important that you say game, makes the game, makes it fun. Gamifying is everything. Something along that line would be whoever can schedule the most patients in a month that show win this prize. So Charles and I with Driven Dental Implant Marketing are actually doing something internally with all of our offices. So what we're doing, and we're rolling this out next month, is each office that's team members, they keep track of how many cases that they do in a month, and then who has the highest case. So we're actually gamifying it. We're making it so all the offices are competing against each other, and they simply say, hey, my name is Dr. Chambo Sim, and this month we have seen and completed 8 cases from Driven Dental Implant Marketing, and our highest case this month was $32,000. So everyone in all of the teams throughout the country that we're working with is doing that, and the highest one, they win a cash prize for the entire team, not the dentist. Dentist, your prize was that big case. But it's the team because it's getting the team involved. And to your point, you have to make it fun. Yeah. If it's fun for everyone, then everyone wins.
Yeah. And we have to remember that we spend more time with our dental families than we do our own families at home. And I know what it's like to have a dentist come in and say, oh, we're doing something new. Now they hired Driven Dental and now it's about implants. And we just were told we had to talk about recares last month or whatever. It's a team effort. It should be fun. We should all jump in and be part of it because we all play a big impact in this. And the ultimate goal is to help patients get their smile back. Yeah. It's to help patients restore their teeth. And, that's really why we should be doing it, But why not have fun while we're doing it too? Why not understand that our job is to help our patients? We're the only people who look out for this part of our patients' bodies, right? It's our job to do everything we can to help our patients. And if it is helping them get that implant that they've needed, helping them restore their smile, that's a huge win, but have some fun along the way. Make it a little, I bet I can schedule more patients than you. I'll bet you $5 Starbucks card up the coffee that, whatever, even if you're doing it internally and your doctor's not doing it, the ultimate goal is to take care of the patients and have fun along the way.
Awesome. Charles, what other questions do you have for her?
Well, we're running low on time, so we kind of saved the best for last. And this is probably one of the most challenging questions, especially when it comes to patients who are seeking high value treatment. And that's how to answer the price question. Right. These are new patients just calling in, and they start out with, how much do you charge for an implant?
Right.
And, how do we answer that question? What's your advice on addressing that?
So there's the reason patients are asking, and for this, I already told you, it's their pocketbook and their insurance book. Okay. So somebody who's calling in for the first time, that's their pocketbook that's talking, right? How much is something? And they don't know what else to ask. Okay. So they ask how much something is. I mean, if I go into a store and I pick up this phone and I go, oh, I love this iPhone X, how much is it? And they tell me the price. That's really when I'm considering if I'm going to buy it or not. So price is just something people ask. It's part of their makeup. The other reason people would be asking it is because they've already been to a dentist. They know they need it. They know the price of the other dentist. They know how much it was going to cost there. But these are my favorite because these are people who didn't get sold by the other dentist. They got told they need an implant. They got told how much it was going to be, but they didn't really build that rapport. They didn't really convince them that it should be done there. They didn't really have their systems in. Their front office team wasn't rock stars. Their dental assistants weren't amazing, whatever the reason. And they left and they said, I'll think about it. And now they're calling your office saying, how much is something? And that's, again, because they don't know how to judge you against that dentist because they don't know what's a good dentist or not. So in both of those cases, I think it's game on. I don't think you should answer the cost over the phone. It's my preference to say, we really can't diagnose over the phone. It really just depends. Every implant is different depending on your needs, but we offer consultations, second opinions. Please come in. We can schedule it as soon as today or tomorrow. I want to not give the price over the phone because we don't want patients judging us on price. More than likely, you're not the cheapest guy in town, hopefully. Would you go to the cheapest implant person in town? We know we wouldn't. So our patient shouldn't choose us on price. So I'm going to do everything I can to say, we really can't tell you over the phone. It really just depends, but we offer free second opinions and consultations. Let's get you scheduled. Now, you're going to have people who push back and they're going to say, no, but I really know I need it. Just give me a price. I really just tell me because I've already been to another dentist, and I know I need an implant. And again, I'm going to say it really just depends. Some implants might need a bone graft. Some might need a different abutment, a different crown. Maybe I really can't tell you, but we can get you in for a second opinion or a consultation. Now, someone's still going to push back and go, just come on, lady, give me a range. Just give me an idea. I'm not going to come in until you tell me give me an idea. And I'm going to say, it really just depends. I can't tell you over the phone. I can give you a range. It's anywhere between $1,000 and $10,000. There's your range, buddy, right? Because this person's asking for it. You've told them 3 reasons why you can't give them the price over the phone, but come on in for a consultation. So the thing is that we have to be, and if it really comes down to it, if this guy, because I say call them Joe the Jerks, sometimes we have the Joe the Jerks who's like, I am not coming in until you tell me the price, and this is ridiculous, and I'm going to be rude, and I'm going to be mean. You know what? For you, it's $10,000. I mean, because some people just don't need to be the dentist for you, right?
Right.
We need to understand that we need to be more persistent than the patient, and if we give them the price over the phone, then they're judging us on price. They're not judging us on experience and how great we are and the training we've had and everything in our office. So it's our job our intention is to get that patient to come in. And that's how I would recommend handling, price, because we have to understand they're going to call and ask how much something is, because that's all they know to ask.
Yeah. I totally agree. I would like to add a little bit on giving the price range, especially for the high value treatment. I totally get that. And patients will press and press and press to the point it's like, well, we've got to tell them something.
Yes.
And one of the things that we coach our offices to say is actually focus on your financing options. Because really, it's not about the total price. It's about, can they fit it into their existing lifestyle and their existing budget?
Yeah.
And so one of the scripts that we give our practices is, hey, most patients end up financing treatment. And so we're able to really fit this into low monthly payments. And then we give a price range based on kind of what we think the patient might be looking for. So if they're looking for a single implant, you can give them a monthly payment range for a single implant treatment plan. But always with the caveat, like, look, your price may be higher or lower, and there are obviously some, conditions that come along with the financing, but that at least gives you an idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the patients are looking for, is some type of benchmark or just frame of reference so they know that this is something that is within reach.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things, I teach new patient calls across the board. So I'm about getting all the new patients in. Yeah. But in the case of the higher cases, and even when we're sitting and talking to patients, when we're doing a consultation, I know this is a little bit further into the process, but when the patient says, you say it's $5,000 and they say, I can't afford that, I don't have that kind of money. And then the consultation sort of ends at that, like, okay, well, we'll see you later. We need to go to that next level and say, well, if we could get it to $250 a month, could you afford that? What could you afford monthly? Because if you think about it, we don't go buy $5,000 of things like that most of the time. We finance it. We have a payment options. But in the dental office, we haven't done that yet. And when you're talking larger cases, we need to get better about that, because people are just going to go, well, I don't have that kind of money. That doesn't mean they can't afford it. That just means they're thinking, I don't have that money right here in front of me. But if we can make it affordable for them, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
This is my wheelhouse. Talk about this. There's some feedback on the microphone. Does somebody have their volume on? Oh, I'm good now. So this is very exciting to talk about. I know we got to end pretty soon. I think we probably have 5 or 10 more minutes. Very good conversation. So that was great, Charles. You had mentioned something along the lines of steering them away from the actual cost, but saying, focusing on the fact that we have financial options.
Yeah.
Is so huge. That's so important, because oftentimes people don't feel that there's financial options. And if we stress the different financial options that we have, sometimes we have offices that have 3 or 4 different financial options, but we want to fit it into your budget. That's all that the patient really cares about oftentimes.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a perfect segue into this next week's live video. So this next week's live video, we're actually going to do with Compassionate Finance and Dr. Bruce Baird. And that's going to be an amazing live cast CE. So if you guys like this style, I mean, really, it's free education. We're taking, amazing topics from the experts like Laura Hatch and Dr. Bruce Baird and Dr. Arun Garg and Dr. Paul Homily. And we're giving you this stuff so you can actually digest it and learn about it. And it's all free. It doesn't cost you anything. So make sure you put it on your calendar, and that we're going to be doing another event. Is it the 9th, Charles?
I believe so, yes. The best thing to do is like the Driven Dental Marketing Facebook page. We'll have announcements there. You can sign up on our email list as well, and we'll be sending out announcements as well. So just follow us on social media, pay attention, and you'll see the dates coming up.
Absolutely. And then if you really love this, if you're really interested, go to the message button on our Facebook page, Driven Dental Implant Marketing. After you like the page, send us a message, say, please send us updates. And we got a message from Greg May. Dr. Greg May is amazing. It's one of our dentists that we love. He says, I just like getting 6 to 10 consults a week. Some lead to treatment. That's awesome. And you know what? It's not always as good as 6 to 10 consults a week. However, he is definitely one of the many successful dentists that we work with. So thanks for that, Greg. I really appreciate it. Do we have time to answer a few questions, or do you have anything else to say, Charles? Because there's so many questions.
No, I see all these great comments. Definitely, Laura, if you're willing to hang around and answer some of these, I think we'll be appreciative, and everybody listening would too.
I'm good. Yeah, bring it.
Absolutely. So I guess I'll go ahead. Whew, there's a lot here. We still have about 30, 40 people listening. So this first question is, drum roll. All right. Connie Middleton, if you have a person without a dental background, but an excellent personality and some receptionist experience, how would you train them and how long before you put them on the phone?
Wow, I didn't even ask her to bring that up, but what a good segue into Front Office Rocks, right?
Yes.
Part of the reason that I started Front Office Rocks, because so many dentists were saying to me, well, I have to hire somebody that has Dentrix experience, EagleSoft experience. I need somebody who understands dental. When I got into dental, I didn't understand EagleSoft, Dentrix. I didn't know codes. I didn't know numbers, but I knew customer service. I knew how to handle the phones. I knew how to take care of patients. So you can train dental. You can't train personality. I think that you need to hire on personality and train them on the dental, especially in the front office. It's very easy to do. And with Front Office Rocks, which is why I designed what I have, is it's video training. You can do it in your office. You know, we have an entire section on receptionist. You know, if you put somebody in front of those videos, you can have them trained in a couple days before they touch the phones. If they have the right personality, if they understand caring about people and handling the phones, you can teach them codes and surfaces and everything else. So I don't think I think it's easier than ever to do now that Front Office Rocks is around. And I'd rather have somebody with no dental experience, train them on it versus bring somebody who's got bad experience, you know, not great customer service, but understands codes and put them on your phones. I'd rather take somebody new and fresh and teach them the dental.
Awesome. The next question is, Dr. Paul, how do you negotiate patients who are adamant about insurance benefits, especially FFS?
Fee for service.
Fee for service, yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm assuming this is a doctor, and we didn't really talk about this much, and this happens a lot on the phones. Patients ask about, we talked about this earlier, insurance or their insurance book or their pocketbook. And patients usually call in and say, do you take my insurance? So our team becomes used to, do you take my insurance? Do you take my insurance? And now our team starts to think, well, everybody's insurance driven. And then we start going down this insurance path. And I call it insurance driven versus insurance savvy. We need to be insurance savvy. We need to understand insurance and all of that, but we don't need to be insurance driven. But many times when the patients call and say, do you take my insurance? We go right down that insurance path. We go right down well, what plan do you have? It really just depends. Are you in network or out of network? And when we really need to deal with the person on the phone. So if a patient calls and says, do you take my insurance? Like I said, I'm going to say something positive and then I'm going to take control of the call. I'm still going to handle the insurance question for the patients, but I'm going to handle it later in the call. One of the things I find, and this is where I challenge the team, is the insurance-driven office, the one that's too insurance-focused, typically starts the phone call with, hi, thank you for calling our dental office. Oh, great, you're a new patient. What's the next question you think they ask? Do you have insurance? Or what insurance do you have? Or we start the conversation about insurance. We really need to stop doing that. So we really need to do the best we can to put insurance. We still have to talk about insurance. It's part of what we do for a living, but let's put it at the end of the call. And I think Charles and I, we've devised a kind of helping you through the call. I have a call and tracking sheet that specifically does that because we really want to make sure we learn about the person on the phone first. We need to take care of the person and don't go down that insurance path. And many times it's our own team members who are going down the insurance path first. So that's my question about, especially for fee-for-service practices. You know, we're going to lose every day if we start with, no, we don't take your insurance, or we're not in network for your insurance.
Awesome. Next question. How long is a reasonable amount of time to spend on that first call?
Depends on the patient. Everything depends on the patient. I get these questions all the time. When should we do confirmation calls? When should we, how long should a consult be? It really depends on the patient. Some patients, you can build rapport with them, answer their questions. They're very efficient. They want this and that. They want to get scheduled and they want to get the phone. You can do that in 5 minutes. Other ones, you may have to spend 15, 20 minutes, especially with implant patients. If they have had experience in consults, they may have some questions about your office. So I think what we need to do is not, like I was saying earlier, we've become so efficient and time driven and we can multitask that we forget that we're dealing with a person on the other end of the phone. It doesn't take hours to build rapport with a patient. It can take minutes with some patients, and then some patients it takes a little longer. The ultimate, how long it should take, it depends on the ultimate of what the goal is, which is to get them to schedule. So if one patient, it takes 5 minutes, and the other patient it might take 15. And we need to realize the importance of that phone call and that patient and do what we need to do to actually get them to come in and schedule with us.
Sure. Laura, if I could just chime in, I think that really having a good understanding of what are the steps to get a patient to make a decision about whether or not they're ready to book that consult, and what do you need to ask them, what do they need to know to get to that decision point, and having the practice actually guide them. The better you understand that process, the more efficient your calls are going to be, because you're actually driving the call instead of the patient who's bombarding you with questions and things like that. If we're in control of the call, we can actually let the patient know what they need to know so they can make a decision. Because sometimes they don't even know what to ask, so they just keep asking everything. But if we can guide them, the call's going to be much more efficient.
Exactly. And if you sell the idea of the consultation, and we're going to have the time to talk to you through this, and we're going to show you pictures, and we're going to show you demos, and we're going to do whatever, you sell that consult. So it's like they want to come in for it, because if you give too much data over the phone, well, what's the point of them coming in, right? So we really want to make sure that they feel like it's worth coming in and meeting the doctor and learning about what we can do for them.
Can you tell everyone, how do we get a hold of you? Because you are just, you're filled with knowledge. Can you give somebody a way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you're going to find me. My website is frontofficerocks.com. So you can go to Front Office Rocks. That's how you can sign up for my training. You can learn more about us. You can see sample videos of what I teach on. And then I'm all over social media, much like Elijah. I don't know that I go as live on social media like Elijah. But if you like Front Office Rocks on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and all of that, I post a lot of this stuff there. We give tips, we give tricks, and all of that. So either find me on my website or find me on social media.
That's awesome. And just so you guys know, Laura Hatch actually offers a program. I don't know if you know about it, but it's $5 a day. Hello. To train your entire front office, $5. I'm a huge fan. Man, you've been such a great guest. Laura, you were about to say something.
I know, right? Well, I was going to mention this earlier when you were talking about these videos. But the great thing about doing this and doing video training, and that's what I do on Front Office Rocks, is everybody can watch it. Have your whole team watch this. Even if they don't answer the phones, they need to know how important the phones are. Even if they're not the ones talking to patients about implants, they need to know this about your practice, because we have access to this training in our hands now. And that's what I have with Front Office Rocks. Let your whole team learn. Let your whole team understand. You're going to be a better team and help the patients more if everybody gets the training.
Absolutely. And
If somebody that you think should have watched this video but didn't have an opportunity to, like our page, we're going to be sharing the recording there. And actually, very soon, we're going to have this posted up on the Driven Dental Marketing blog with show notes and even a transcript. So you'll be able to dig into all the great nuggets that were shared in this episode.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And you know what? For Charles, if these people want to talk to, they don't want to talk to me, they want to talk to you. If anybody watching this wants to have a strategy session with you, how do they do that?
The easiest thing to do is just go to drivendentalmarketing.com. There is a button there where you can schedule a 15-minute strategy session with me. We could talk about implementing a program to attract and convert more high-value patients for your practice. We'll actually talk about your specific market and your practice and put together a plan for you. So that's totally free, drivendentalmarketing.com.
Awesome. Sounds good, guys. So if you could all go to the Driven Dental Marketing page, make sure to like it. And then what we'll do is we're going to be discussing presenting high-value treatment with Dr. Bruce Baird. This is going to be on the 9th at around 7 o'clock. Details will be on the Driven Dental Marketing page. But it's going to be another hour of just amazing value, amazing content. Laura, I cannot tell you how much we appreciate you bringing your content and your personality to this live cast. We're super excited. And hey, you never know, we might have you back again this year.
I love it. It's been fun. We have more to go over we didn't handle. So I'll handle the questions, and I'll be back whenever you guys want.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks.